Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Tuesday, July the 8th, 2025. And just excuse if you can hear the wind coming through my microphone at stages. It's a little bit miserable this morning. It's not wet, but it's definitely cold and a bit of a breeze coming through where I walk down at the moment. It's like a bit of a wind tunnel actually, so I'll try and stay out of as much as I can. But wouldn't it be good to sort of get out of this weather and go to somewhere warm? Of course, I'm heading off today to the States, so should be nice and warm over there. 42 or 43 degrees in Vegas at the moment, in the 30s in New York, so it should be good. I'm heading off down to the airport about lunchtime. Plane leaves about 3. Well, I'll get to the airport about 12, but the plane leaves at 3. I always like to get there early, at least 3 hours before. Even with domestic flights, I'm always at least a couple of hours. Just one of those things I like to do is just have plenty of time. You never know what's going to happen. Could be road works, there could be an accident, there could be just lots of people around, there's just lots of lines. It's just, I think it's just good to get there early, and no matter what happens, you've got a little bit of time up your sleeve and you're not panicking. And you're not sort of worrying about sort of getting through and being held up. So anyway, looking forward to that. All right, on to today. And on this day, back in 1979, the great Alexis Arguello stopped Rafael Bazooka Limon in round 11. Another great fighter back in the day. In some just wars was Limon. Retained his WBC super featherweight title. That was in New York, and Arguello was making his 5th defence. In the other fight, one of my favourite fighters growing up, it was John the Beast Mugabe. He won the WBC super welterweight or 154-pound title today with a win over Rene Jacot. I'm pretty sure Rene Jacot beat Donald Curry from memory. Curry he was the undisputed welterweight champion. He then lost it to Lloyd Honeyghan, moved up and was knocked out by Mike McCallum. Then got a fight with Gianfranco Rossi and beat Rossi, and then Jacot beat Curry, and then Mugabe must have beaten Jacot. That's a long time ago. We're talking late 80s, I think it would have been. Sort of 88, 89, something like that anyway. But some great memories back then. All right, so what's happening in today's news? Well, a little bit more into Ricky Hatton. Now, I commented yesterday on his decision to come back. He's reached out to his fans on social media, which I think is a really good thing to do. And to be honest with you, it probably gave a lot of perspective to everyone, including me, just as to what he's doing. Now, I suppose it's hard to sort of explain to people that haven't been boxers and haven't been competitors and been in it for a while, that just how hard it is to step away. Now, I understand he's 46 years of age, nearly 47, I think, and probably should be doing some other things with his life. But when he was sort of saying that he understands the fans' concerns, but he will be carefully matched in this fight. He's fighting a guy, I think he's 8-3, and was knocked out in his first fight a couple of years ago or something. Before that, I hadn't fought since 2012. So it's not like he's fighting a world-ranked contender. So what he said, look, I understand what people are saying, but he said, you're a long time retired. And he said, I'm going to very carefully pick my opponents, which is another thing to get our head around, opponents, not just opponent. And he said, look, I'm just going to enjoy it and just, get just as Rocky said in the Rocky 6, whatever it was, the stuff in the basement. So, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really got a problem with it. Yesterday, when I sort of looked at it, I thought, geez, he's trying to do something like Manny Pacquiao was doing and actually coming back. Well, it's not. He just said, look, I'll just fight, carefully match fights, enjoy it while I can, because again, you're a long time retired. And so I get it, I really do. And that's what I was saying, that sometimes if you haven't been in there, you don't understand. Now, a lot of fighters, people scratch their head about why they come back. you know, it's hard to get that out of your system. Well, part of the thing that makes you a fighter, or want to be a fighter and get in there and punch on with people and put your life at risk in every single fight, is the same thing that makes it really, really hard to walk away. That fire, the competitiveness, the warrior aspect of it all. And you just can't turn it off. I was very lucky when I retired because I was going in the business and I had something to, not that I was, of course, anywhere near that level, but I was fortunate that I've been fighting since I was 10 years old and I was 25. Excuse me, got something in my throat this morning. And I was lucky I had a business going. I was getting married, I was going into business. I had something to fuel or to satisfy that competitive sort of thing that runs through your blood. Ricky Hatton really hasn't had that, especially at his level. You know, the pats on the back, the adulation, the interviews, the thrill of the, you know, of the lead up to it and the training camps and all that sort of stuff. Very, very hard to walk away from. So I get it. What looks like it's going to happen is they're going to match him, let's just say, with fighters who aren't necessarily world level. I've got a feeling they're going to, let's just say, we'll call them spuds. That's how we sort of like to refer it here in Australia, don't we? They're going to put it, excuse me, I'm sorry guys, they're going to put him in with spuds, and which is not going to be the first time it's happened, and they will see where he goes. I think the plan might be, let's give him 3 or 4 fights and satisfy his thirst for the contest, and then hopefully that will be enough for Ricky to say goodbye. That's what I think it is. It's almost a little mini retirement tour, I reckon. I think he'll, by the sounds of things, squash this bloke, and I'm sure everyone will get talking about it, but I'm not quite sure what weight it'll be at. I'm assuming it'll be probably light middleweight or something like that, but they'll give him 2, 3, 4 fights and then say, hey Ricky, are we satisfied now? Can we turn the page? And they'll do it very, very carefully. Let's hope that his handlers don't see it as a money grab and you know, exploit him and make a lot of money out of him, maybe hopefully not getting hurt. So anyway, so that's Ricky Hatton. So I would like to say to him, good luck to you, Ricky. I totally get where you're coming from now. As long as they continue with the path they've sort of looks like they've set for him, I've got no dramas with it, and hope he gets out of it what he needs. And don't forget, he's been a big advocate for mental health. He's had a lot of issues outside the ring, which is probably another reason why he feels that he really needs to do this. And if it can satisfy his needs, put out the fire, here comes the wind, and hopefully he can then help more people in what he does outside the ring. So again, good on you, Ricky, and best of luck. Just look after yourself, mate. All right, we're all fans and would hate anything to happen. All right, what else is going on? Alexander Usyk has said that he will have one more fight after this one. So after he gets through with Dubois, he said he still loves boxing, but he loves training and all the rest of it. He loves everything about it. But he said he's got 2 more fights in him, one being Dubois, and then one more after that. So the big question is, if he gets past Dubois, who will it be? Now, it's easy if he loses to Dubois. Well, that's very easy, and he fights Dubois for a 3rd time. If he wins, does Joseph Parker get his shot? Does he go for Fury? Does he backtrack and go for Joshua? It's a really hard one. I would think it'd have to be something special. I would think, as I said, if he loses, it'll be Dubois for a 3rd time. If he wins, is going out against Joseph Parker just enough for him? You would think so. I wouldn't have any problem with that. You know, Dubois, Fury, Joshua twice, plus the cruiserweight titles, all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't have a problem with it. If he said, yeah, I'll give Joseph Parker his well-deserved shot, by the way. If anyone deserves a shot at the title, it's Joseph Parker. So let's hope that is the case. But that is the words from the man himself. One more fight after this one. And look, I think you'll be one of those fighters, like a lot of fighters in the past, where you don't really know what you've got till they're gone. A guy that was willing to travel to any destination in the world to fight the best and beat the best fighters pretty much all the time in their backyards. yeah, just a once in a generation champion is Alexander Usyk, and I'm really hoping he can get the job done over Dubois, get that last fight, and retire as one of the greatest fighters of all time. And he's not the most, I suppose, out there sort of. Well, he's out there, but I mean, he's not the type of guy you would normally probably associate with being one of the all-time greats. And yes, he hasn't got the flamboyance, and he's not from America or England or one of those countries, but he's a great champion. He really is. And as I said, I hope he gets past these next 2 fights and gets recognised for the great champion he is. Speaking of Joseph Parker, there's word from Frank Warren that he will fight maybe Dave Allen next before he gets hopefully a shot at Usyk or Dubois. So I think they're talking about a 5x5 event, another one. Nothing concrete of it yet. Frank Warren's really hopeful that it'll come about. Eddie Hearn's, of course, got to be on board with that as well. And I think they've all got a little bit going on at the moment. So there's no sort of dates in mind. I think the last one was about June last year in 2024. So I would love for it to happen again. I thought it was great. Eddie Hearn might not want it to happen again because he got steamrolled 10-0, didn't he? Like in points, 5-0 in the fights. So I'm not sure he wants it, or maybe he does. Maybe he wants redemption. But I think it was a great concept, and it's something I would love to see here in Australia. Love to see Tasman versus No Limit. It'd be great. Some really good matchups to be made there. So that's what's next for Joseph Parker. And look, it's probably not a bad fight against Dave Allen. I think Dave Allen, of course, got redemption against Johnny Fisher, which was great. Is he in Joseph Parker's league? I'm not quite sure. That might be, maybe a risky night for Dave Allen. I mean, as we always say, there's levels. So, but good on him. He'll no doubt get a good payday and all that out of it. Joseph Parker should get a nice tune-up and a good fight. And hopefully he gets that world title shot. But that's what they're talking about next for Joseph Parker. Now, the thing, you've probably all seen it on social media, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, he has put some stuff on social media, and actually features our own Danny Green, actually, sitting in front of his big screen TV at home and watching fights of Roy Jones Jr. getting knocked out. And you might be thinking, why would he do that? Well, what sort of happened? Well, what they think has happened is that Roy Jones Jr. was on a podcast. I think it's called All the Smoke. I did see a bit of it the other day with Vinny Pazienza was on there. And apparently he said that Sugar Ray Leonard would have no problems beating Floyd Mayweather Jr. Beat Floyd Mayweather Sr., by the way, if you remember, did Sugar Ray. But he said that Sugar Ray would have no problems beating Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd Mayweather just responded by not saying a word, just with his back to the camera and just watching Roy Jones Jr. get flattened by numerous guys, including Danny Green. And Danny Green actually was, as you could probably imagine, was pretty chuffed about the whole thing. Put it on his Instagram yesterday. And without saying a word, Floyd Mayweather Jr. has created a bit of a storm. Now, I think he's also probably, what he's obviously getting at is that a lot of people think Roy Jones Jr. was the GOAT. And a little bit like Mike Tyson, unfortunately, he gets remembered for some of the fights later in his career and forget how great he was in his prime. I think in his prime he was better than Floyd Mayweather. But unfortunately, a lot of those later fights really took the gloss off his career. And I think what's happened is that Floyd Mayweather has been insulted by the fact that anyone would firstly question that Roy Jones Jr. is better than him, but also Roy himself saying that Sugar Ray would beat Floyd. So he's put it on the big screen and said, this is the guy that you think is better than me, is it? This is the guy. This is obviously what he's trying to do. This is the guy you think is better than TVE. Look at him, get knocked out by this bloke from Australia. So I think that's what he was sort of getting at. But it's got people talking. Look, overall in their careers, I would probably say that I would have Floyd Mayweather Jr. above Roy Jones Jr. in the rankings, only because of sort of what happened a little bit later in his career and some of those losses he took. Now, overall, as I said, at the peak, before Roy Jones Jr. started to lose or started to take those fights, I would say that he was at that time a better fighter than Floyd. But overall, I think you would have to say that Floyd's, well, did he have the better career? I don't know, it's arguable, isn't it? Everything's debatable and arguable. The main thing is they were two great fighters. I think that's all we have to worry about, isn't it? Come here, man. Where are we going there? let's get past this car here. All right, buddy, let's go. G'day, mate, how you doing?
Thanks, how are you?
Good, come on, man. All right, do your thing.
Still taking him on walks.
Yeah, mate, still going. Every morning. All right, buddy, let's move. All right, now the other thing that I read an article yesterday. It was about where do we see boxing in the next 5 years, and it was an interesting article. Lots of different people debated, well, not debated, but had their say on where boxing is in the next 5 years, and it was actually just one of those things that got me thinking. Where will boxing be? Now, it's a hard one because ideally we would probably think that Turki Al-Sheikh would have just made boxing great again, and not that I think it needed to be made great, I think it was already great, but made it greater, if that's the word. And there'll be fights all over the world in exotic places, and the biggest fights ever will be taking place, and there'll be great broadcast deals, and there'll be the TKO boxing in and all this sort of stuff, and boxing will never be better. I, for one, am not so enthusiastic about that, if I'm being honest. I know if you've followed me on here, you know that I've been pretty vocal about Turki Al-Sheikh. I'm not quite sure where he takes the sport. He seems to me a little bit of the wolf in sheep's clothing to me. And don't get me wrong, he's done some good things or great things, or very, very good things, we'll say. So I'm not saying he hasn't. I just get the feeling if we go down the track we are at the moment, in 5 years' time, I think you're going to see a dictatorship. I think you're going to see unhappy fighters who are just being forced into doing things they might not want to do and take fights, and look, the fans might be happy with it, but I just think their careers, it'll be a little bit sort of taken out of their hands. This is the way you're going to do it, or you're out. You're going to be blacklisted. That's the sort of thing I'm hoping we don't get. But if it goes the way it is at the moment, that's what I think will happen. You'll have Turki Al-Sheikh, and it's starting to come out now, ruling it with an iron fist. You'll have his little minions in Dana White running the TKO boxing underneath to identifying and stitching up all the young fighters coming up. You'll have, hopefully not, but maybe Oscar and Eddie continuing to take those big paydays from him and working alongside him all the time, praising him, but no doubt in the background going, what is this guy doing? That's what I hope doesn't happen, but my fear is that's exactly what will happen. Broadcast deals will be all over the place. A lot of it'll be probably, well, maybe that could be a good thing. It'll be all on, maybe on one platform, on DAZN or Netflix. I'm hoping that we get, if anything, more of those streaming services involved. It's great Netflix is involved now. Stan does a little bit here in Australia. I'm not totally happy with the DAZN product. I just don't think they put enough money into their broadcasts. So that's probably one thing I don't, or if anything, I think will get better. I think the streaming services, I think we will have either DAZN will have everything stitched up and make the product better, or others will come in. And again, I'm hoping it's Netflix. I think Netflix would blow DAZN out of the water if they really got serious about boxing. Not that DAZN's done a bad job. I just don't like the whole broadcast setup and the commentary team and all that sort of stuff and what the product they offer. But all that aside, I don't think it really matters as far as the broadcast side of things goes, because I think as long as someone's got it on, people won't really care. But it's just the control of the boxing. And I'm just hoping in 5 years' time we don't see the grand ruler up there in Turki Al-Sheikh totally dictating every single thing that goes on in boxing, and I suppose punishing people for not doing the right thing, blacklisting others, maybe rewarding fighters that don't really deserve it, all this sort of stuff. Probably no different to the sanctioning bodies at the moment, though, is it? I suppose when you break it down that way. But sanctioning bodies is one thing, because there's plenty of other options you can go down, other avenues. If Turki Al-Sheikh is ruling boxing with an iron fist, then it's his say or nothing. And I just don't think it's healthy for any sport to have one person who rules everything and has the final say and has so much control over such a big business. And you guys out there are probably the same. We love this sport. A lot of us are growing up through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and through the greatest eras ever of boxing. It just makes me sick to think that we could have one person running the whole sport, especially someone that is a relative novice to the sport. It might be a big business over there in Saudi Arabia. That's the other thing I don't like. I don't like a foreign country like Saudi Arabia running boxing. I just don't. Now, call that what you will, say but what you will. I don't like it. I don't like them wanting to take everything overseas. I've had my soapbox moment about this in the past, so I won't rave on with it, but I'm hoping that in 5 years' time that it's not worse than what it currently is now. In a perfect world, look, if Turkey's still involved and there's still fights over there, that's great, but the fights are worked in with other big fights in the States and in England and all over the world. Turkey Al-Sheikh over there in Saudi Arabia is, Jesus, this wind is crazy. Gets a little bit more experience in it, gets some good people around him, and actually sort of thaws a little bit on how we're sort of reacting now, and we have someone that actually knows what they're doing if they have that power to run the sport. So, look, there's a lot of what ifs and maybes out there, but I must admit, as I said, I'm a little bit fearful of where the sport's going to be in 5 years' time. Not to mention, Canelo will be gone, Usyk will be gone, Inoue might be gone, Crawford will be gone, and what are the fighters that are going to replace them? I know there's some really good fighters coming up, but having said that, I know we say that every single generation, by the way. Where's the next Floyd? Where's the next Oscar? Where's the next Manny? Well, I think we're doing all right at the moment, so I'm sure someone will come up. But they're the things I think about anyway in the next 5 years. Give me your thoughts, and I'm sure everyone's got different opinions. But guys, that's going to do it for today. This will obviously be the last one for a couple of weeks. Just make sure you keep a lookout for the daily vlogs I put up with my travels over in the States. I might include a little bit more of this dialogue as well, just to give you a little bit of a dose of the walking boxing aspect, apart from just the things I'm up to. But I'll do, excuse me, I'll do as much as I can over there with the time I have. So guys, enjoy the fights over the next sort of couple of weeks. There's a lot happening, and see you when I get back. Have a good one.